The room didn't go dark. It went static, like reality itself was breaking apart. And then she appeared, silent, watching, closer than before. On Myths, Monsters, and Mullets, we talk to the people who experience the moment when skepticism dies. Because once something steps out of the noise, you can never unsee it.
Out in the woods, shadows creep slow. Footprints deep where no man should go. Cold winds howl through hollers and brooks. Whispers of Bigfoot in the way it looks. Myths, monsters, and mullets in the night. Under a pale moon, strange glowing light. Truth out there like a blade it cuts. Myths, monsters, and mullets run amok.
Welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets, the show where the strange, the unexplained, and the weird take center stage, and where the people behind the encounters matter just as much as the encounters themselves. We're not just here to talk about what was seen, we're here to understand who saw it, how it changed them, and why it still matters. Before we get started, quick shout out to our supporters over on Patreon. If you'd like to help keep the show independent, ad-free, and unapologetically weird, head on over to our Patreon. You'll find members episodes, early access to all the public episodes, and bonus material you won't see or hear anywhere else. If you've had an encounter or something strange that you've just never been able to explain, I want to hear from you. Email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. That's mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Your experience could be featured on a future episode. It's coming up fast. Mark your calendars, June 6th, 2026. I'll be speaking at the Arkansas Cryptid Fest in North Little Rock, Arkansas. If you're into cryptids, folklore, and listening to great speakers, that's where you need to be. If you haven't yet, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following me on all your favorite podcast platforms. Give this episode a like, leave a comment, leave us a review. That'll help us with the algorithm, and that's the best way to grow the show. Make sure you check the descriptions on all my episodes. Down below, you're going to find a list of all my favorite podcasts, from Nevermore Hollows, Drunken Cryptids, Chumming with the Spirits, Ghost Gossip, and so much more. And while you're over there listening to their shows, leave them a comment and tell them John sent you. And with that, let's start the show. And welcome back to Myths, Monsters, and Mullets. I am your host, John Methenkamp. On tonight's show, we have Offbeat Paranormal. Philip, he sent me a message over there on Facebook, said, hey, I've got some paranormal encounters I'd like to share. I was like, well, absolutely. Let's do this. Well, Philip and Amanda, why don't you guys introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Philip. Yeah, I sent him the message just because I'm definitely always willing to share stories and experiences because what somebody might experience, somebody else might have that they haven't put words out to describe it, or at least, let them know, hey, there are other people out here that do experience these kind of things. It's, I always kind of had experiences as a kid, but it didn't really come to full force until probably about 2003. And since then it's been off and on, but the last few years it's kind of been full throttle. So definitely a lot of experiences and knowledge behind that, and just wanting to share it.
And what about you, Amanda?
Yeah, I'm Amanda. It's kind of the same story. But my interest, experiences as a kid, all of that. And I grew up in a really religious household, and of course it was shushed, not seen, not recognized, not spoke about. And I didn't have anybody in my personal contact that I could, you know, relate this to. And so, for me, as many people that I know, it wasn't until Ghost Hunters got released on TV, and that became really big, and it became kind of accepted, sort of. You're still weird, but at least we can see it on TV. So, but so that kind of helped out the process for me, and then the last several years, just as an adult, I've gone through, like, that adult rebellious phase, that you go through, and you're like, I don't can we say shit? I don't give a shit. But,
Yeah, as long as we don't use the F word, I'm okay with it.
okay, I got it. But, I just went through my I don't give a shit phase and pursued what I wanted to pursue and opened my mind to what I wanted to open my mind to, and, thankfully, this last year I met Philip, and it was God, synchronicity after synchronicity, and, everything's worked out so great. So, not only am I getting married to my best friend, um, we're extremely similar, and where we're not similar, we can definitely feed off each other with, you know, the spiritual gifts and the things that we do and experience and what we can, experience together. So, we're really quite fortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I was raised Catholic too, and very strict Catholic, so nobody really talked about this stuff. My grandma did say that she had like evil spirits jumping out of the TV to attack her, but just right after her passing, we were talking, and all the information that she got was just negative about whatever it was or what was going on. So she was scared because we're kind of in the Bible Belt here, middle of Oklahoma, so it's not really talked about except
Mm-mm.
among certain groups. It's a very religious around here, so to be able to be, have the mindset of us, you're definitely treading on a different path for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's bizarre because I'm a Christian and I read the same Bible and I see all kinds of paranormal in the Bible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find it bizarre that a lot of church leaders, just dismiss the paranormal when the entire Bible is just full of the paranormal, you know?
Let me tell you something. We've been listening to John Keel, okay?
There
We've
you
been
go.
doing Yeah. So, we've been listening 'cause we go on drives a lot, but, Mothman Prophecies on audiobook. Um, and just I can't tell you how many times I've stopped that thing mid-drive and looked at him and said, "Did you hear that?" Like, it's exactly related to the Bible, and even John Keel, he's like, "Scripture this and scripture that," and I'm just like, "Oh my god," my mind is blown over and over again. And I watched the episode you did, a few back with the pastors that you have on. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
we're planning on doing another one of those in season 2. So,
yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and man, did it ignite some stuff. So, but they're it's stuff that needs to be talked about. It's
absolutely.
it's stuff that needs to be brought to light, and, not even necessarily to normalize what we do or what we believe in, but to to broaden people's viewpoints, even if not on purpose,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
as
I
because
I
I
think
know as
that whole point of that episode that I did was to show that there are people in the church who do believe and recognize that there is the paranormal. There is a
Mhm.
paranormal realm that we're not we may not be able to see, but we do interact with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, the parallels are insane. If the problem is like I said, I was raised in a spiritual family, in a Christian family, um, very by the book Christian, very, I wasn't Catholic by any means, but Methodist, and then we were Methodist and then Baptist and then first Christian, and then, we skipped around. But, but even my dad now, he is very, very strict to the Bible, and I'm 40 years old now, so I'm finally getting to the point where I don't care what my dad thinks about me. Um, I mean, he's all I got, you know, he's really the only family member that not the only family member that's alive, but the only one I let in my life, just for boundaries' sake. But we went and saw him yesterday, and even yesterday, he was just, oh my God. So he'll talk about, you know, the spiritual things, and I'll hear something, it'll trigger something. I'll be like, hey, Dad, you know, he was talking about spiritual gifts. I'm like, hey, Dad, you know, spiritual gifts extend beyond Christianity. And then there was that awkward pause, and he's like, not for me, they don't. He said, "Not for me, they don't." And I started laughing. I understand. And he had said
Yeah,
previous Huh?
it is hard for some people, because that's what they've been taught.
Exactly.
They've been taught that, anything paranormal is evil. That's not completely true because read your Bible. There was a lot of paranormal in there
Oh my gosh.
that was
Oh,
by God.
mhm,
Yeah.
It wasn't all evil.
mhm,
And I think that you have to recognize that there is this spiritual battle going on. And because if you don't, you're setting yourself up for a rude awakening when it shows up in your lap.
mhm.
Yeah.
What was that show we were watching yesterday? The one Book of Saul or
Oh, the House of David.
House of David.
Okay.
Okay, so this thing, it's very well written. Um, a friend has actually helped produce and direct or whatever, but, over and over again, sorry, you can tell this is a subject that I'm kinda passionate about.
No,
Over
this is fun.
Yeah, over and over again, there's, like I look at him, I'm like, "You can't tell me that ain't magic what they just
Right.
did." You have rituals, you have magic, you have spiritual, you have anyways.
Yeah, there's magic in the Bible. We didn't touch too much on it in that episode, and that's one of the reasons we want to do a second.
Mm,
We didn't talk much about the UFOs. We didn't talk much about. We really wanted to, dabble
yes.
into the Nephilim and things
Yeah.
like that that a lot of church leaders don't talk about. But that episode was over an hour long already, so uh,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard a church leader talk, about the Nephilim at all.
Mm-mm.
Um,
No.
that's definitely not something that's ever discussed. That's
right,
interesting, but I think I ever heard anyone ever talk about.
yeah. That it's because the Nephilim are only talked about for a very small portion of the King James Bible. But if you look at the extra canonical books that aren't part of the Bible, but people in that time, they were very familiar with these books. Jesus mentions some of these extra canonical books, and so you gotta kind of at least look at them to get some backstory there. Now, yeah, but we really went off topic here, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
But you know
So,
what?
let's
That's how my show goes, and it's just
Honestly,
fine. Okay,
you
this is
told me
my
that's
show.
what
I'll
this
do
was
what I
about.
want.
whatever. I do what I want.
Mm, yeah.
Um,
so, so you guys said that you kind of grew up similar. You had paranormal things that happened
Mhm,
growing up. Um, do we want to go into a little bit of some of those early things that happened? Um, Either one of you can start.
um, so, I mean, just even the furthest one back that I think I remember, I was out on the farm. My family had a ranch in middle of nowhere, Kansas, and like me and my brother both saw this a shadow wolf, like I want to say wolf, but that's the closest as I could describe it. Could coyote, whatever, in an old abandoned barn that we had. Um, And I mean, this was like so old. It just, I don't think I ever really stepped foot in there except like once or twice. But we were kind of far back, and then the top window, this shadow thing walked across. Um, all
No, wait a
fours,
minute. Hang on. When you say walked across, was it on 2 legs or 4?
four legs.
Okay.
So that's what I was saying. It's kind of a wolf, coyote, something. At least that's what I thought it was. And so, like, me and my brother both saw it, and we ran to the barn as soon as we saw it. Went inside, and the stairs was not like this. It was not casually going up. There was only one way up there, and it was a straight vertical climb up a ladder. And we went up there. There's nothing there, and that's about the earliest occurrence that I remember as far as that goes. And I was like, "What the heck?" Like, it just like, as a little kid, because I was never really exposed to that. I didn't know what it was, but just like, yeah, it's a very, very vivid memory for me, though.
And maybe I missed it. How old were you when that happened?
First grade, kindergarten,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
5 or
Second grade,
6.
Okay.
yeah, somewhere around there. I was, in the middle of nowhere. You always trying to figure out stuff to do.
Right. Did
um,
you and your brother ever talk about this later on in life?
no, my brother doesn't really talk too much. So like our conversations aren't very long-winded. um,
Be cool if they were.
but and then once we ended up inside the town, the doorbell would constantly go off, like just randomly by itself all the time. Or hearing my name called constantly,
Mhm.
and me going and be like, "Did you call my name?" And no, nothing. Um, and that was,
Was it always the same voice,
yeah, it was
male or female?
female.
Hmm.
Because it was only when that was when we were out on the ranch as far as that goes, and that was always, and it was only just when it was me and my mom in the trailer, and I'd be on like in my bedroom, and she'd be in hers or something like that, and then I'd hear it. I walk over there. I'm like, "Hey, did you call my name?" She's like, "No, I didn't call your name at all." And that happened constantly.
And you didn't recognize the voice?
It just, I thought it could have been my mom's, but it wasn't. It was a female voice. I know that, but
Right. I was thinking maybe, somebody that had just passed or somebody that passed when you were little, like a grandmother or something like that, if you recognize the voice that way.
I actually just lost my first set of grandparents a few months ago. I've had all four
Okay.
of my grandparents the whole time.
Wow.
I know,
Um,
right?
I even had a great grandmother up until I was graduated high school, and I still have my great grandmother. Um,
Wow.
like as far as like family members that had passed, it was more like the males. Like my uncle Harold, he was um kind of famous for aviation, and like he was actually testing out a plane that had something going on with it, but it went in a flaps and jumped out, and parachute didn't open up, and he, obviously he ended up passing from that. But
Right.
um, it was more on the male, most of the male side that have passed,
Okay.
rather than females.
Well, what about you, Amanda? When did your stuff start?
I mean, it sucks because I'm seeing now I'm realizing now that a lot of the memories I had as a kid were actually paranormal things that had happened, and nobody like I said, I had nobody in my family that supported it, recognized it, talked about it, anything. He at least had a mother and a grandmother that would talk about it or had mentioned it. It was not mentioned around my house. My mom's family was very, very Catholic. So everybody was hush hush over one thing or another. And, my dad's side of the family was very Christian. So uh, I just, I can see now, I can remember now memories of I would be in my bed and would feel the covers being pushed down, next to my leg. Yeah, and I mean, I would look and the indentation would be there, and then I would move my
Really?
leg. Yeah, I was probably, I would say 7 or 8. I would move my leg and, the indentation would stay there, then it would get up. Um, Shadows were a big thing, a lot of the times too outside, in my backyard. Because we lived on the edge of town, so there was like a dike, it keeps the water out town or whatever.
Like a
So
levee or
like a levee, yeah. So it was real wooded, and, we were right on the edge of town, and we'd, have coyotes and everything and animals coming over all the time. But when it would get dark, up in the trees, or not up in the trees, but, within the trees or whatever, I would often see shadows and just chalk it up to coyotes, chalk it up to dogs or cats or whatever. But I remember, them being very flitty and, fitting where they shouldn't have been fitting in, and then, lights as well, and not like floating lights like orbs, but like flashing lights, but small flashing lights. It
really?
reminds me. Yeah. So and they were really low to the ground, they weren't like, high or anything, but, and like he said, constant voices, in the house when I was growing up, and, hearing my name being said and nobody being around. We had a crawl space underneath our house, and I remember, hearing things down there when I was a kid, and it was really cool because you could lift up the grate and actually crawl under because there was nothing there. It was like, the old heater or whatever. So we would lift up the grate and crawl under and adventure down there or whatever. But I would hear things down there, and I would go down there and nothing would be there because 'cause you'd think, "Oh, an animal got underneath the house." It did not. There was nothing down there, but I would often hear that, and, but all those
When you
memories.
say that you're hearing things, was it like growling or scratching or
Thank God
knocking
it
or
wasn't growling, like scratching or knocking or tapping. Yeah, no growling, thank God. I would've freaked
well,
out.
you never know.
But, yeah, but I'm just now I just for whatever reason, my mind blocked out all those memories, and doing research now as an adult and being, exposed to a lot of the books and articles and, short snippets of videos or whatever, automatically the memories are coming back in my head, and I'm thinking, "Oh my god, like, could that have been that?" And then I think harder on it, I'm like, "You know what? There was nobody around." And those things that I just dismissed, very well could have been, especially as I get older and I open myself up more. I'm reminded daily that, there's a plane of existence beyond what we exist on, and, there's something going on. There's something very real and very, uh, unique and very, very cool, and, that most likely that was what was going on, back then. So but it just sucks that I have to remember these things as an adult, and I'm serious, I can't be like one of those cool kids like, you were running around chasing shadows and, you know, playing with Ouija boards as a kid, and I wasn't one of those kids that lived their best life then. I have to be 40, and, well, I'm glad I get to do it with you, but, you know, my best kid life now, being whoever the hell I wanna be.
I think there's a lot of people though, and I'm one of them. I got into the paranormal very late in life.
Mhm.
Um, and when I started listening to podcasts and things like that and hearing other people's encounters, it's like, holy cow, I've had that kind of stuff happen, you know? And I know for me growing up, I was very, very scientific.
Mhm.
Okay. There was an explanation for everything. And, the paranormal didn't exist. So, a lot of times I think when you grow up that way, where this stuff doesn't exist and you're told over and over this stuff doesn't exist, you believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you just ignore it. You ignore it because, oh, that was just weird, you know. I think there's a lot of people like that. They just dismissed the paranormal their entire life because it was just something weird that happened.
Yeah. Well, it's like realizing when in your 40s, that you actually have ADHD and you weren't just some jacked up kid. When you were I got diagnosed like 4 or 5 years ago, and blew my mind. It fixed everything that was wrong with my brain, So it's the same kind of thing.
Well, even kids that, become adults and, you know, naturally they're mediums and, they're psychic and everything, but their family and everyone else around them tells them, "Oh, you're not seeing anything. Oh,
Mhm.
that's not real." And it's the constant like berating and belittling and telling them they're wrong constantly. Eventually, they're going to block that out, and whatever gifts that they did have is gone
Mhm.
just because their surroundings told them it
Not
doesn't
gone,
exist.
just stifled.
Something like
Or is it like a skill you learned whenever you were a kid and you don't use it, so you just kind of forget how to do it until you start doing it again?
That sounds familiar.
yeah. I have said it's kind of like a muscle that you got to work. If you're not constantly like working that muscle, working that part of you, um, it'll definitely get weak and you won't really see it. But when you start to you know work at it and practice and do your daily meditations or do your exercises to increase the energy and sensitivity and everything else, you're going to get stronger. Now there's definitely different levels to it, some a lot more than others, for sure. But people in their own right, they're always going to be able to work it if they want to. I guess it's how much of that part of yourself you feel like you need to fulfill.
Yeah, I think the journey into, discovering who you are paranormally and spiritually and all of those things, as an adult, I think it's one of the best gifts that we can give ourselves. I really, really, think so, and just I see so many people, so many women, in my circles, in our circles, just getting set free because they're finally
You
getting.
mean witches?
I didn't say it, you did.
I know, I'm joking.
But
She's a witch.
finally getting to let let their spirits fulfill what they've always wanted to fulfill and become who they were always meant to be. It's like you're stepping into this void. It's like you're feeling this void after a lifetime full of hell of why am I this way? Why do I think this way? Why do I see this way? Um And I speak personally, because I'm walking through the same stuff. I'm a baby. Like you said, coming in to the paranormal field late in life. As far as that, I came in late in life. It's not like I've been doing this since my early 20s. I've been interested in it and I've been researching it, but I haven't been out doing it. I went through, at 18, I got married, went through one awful marriage that lasted a few years. And then at 20 something, got married again, went through 13 years and wasn't going to do it during that time either. Hell, now I met him and he likes this shit as much as I do. So it's really cool. So I'm allowed, thank God, to walk through finally what my soul has been wanting to walk through my entire life. And I'm just and that's one of the reasons why I wish like religion and the church and that is such a culprit, unfortunately. And it's not. I love Jesus. I believe in a creator of the earth and all of the miracles that happen on earth and in our bodies. And I believe that there's one creator and that Jesus did all the miracles that he did. And I believe in all those things. But I also believe that there's magic and that there's intuition and that there's extrasensory perceptions, and that there's forms of being a psychic and forms of all of these. Anyways, am I ranting? Forms of all of these abilities that have been hoodoo or whatever they, call that, um, that are real, and they're gentle and they're kind and they're good and they're like, ugh, yeah, it goes into that whole, all that is paranormal is evil, and I could go on for days about that. I honestly could, just because I've been set free so much, especially in the last couple years, with everything that's been going on with my life. So, um,
So at what point, and this is for both of you, so either one of you can answer this. There's always that awakening moment where there was one thing that happened and you're just like, okay, now I know this is real. What was that for each of you?
It was a journey for me. I mean, really, what really kicked it off, um, it was a lot of major events because I did have a block on me, um, put on by my family that I worked on, kind of like breaking down the walls on that. I had a friend that was actually, he was murdered, um, and uh, my mentor, which really good friend's mom, she kept seeing him, and this was like right after it happened, which is really unusual because usually it takes a little bit of time for that the energy. But he was just like, be like, "Hey, this happened. My family's in danger. You need to, And so that kind of it sparked me because um we had conversations and everything else, and she had to bring me into it, be like, "Hey, because she needed help with it." And so I started learning, and that's really kind of what awoken it. And got to the point when we were breaking down the barriers. There's two things that like really helped with that. One of them, because she told me like if you start seeing stuff, if you start seeing the spirits and communicating with them, there's no going back. It's like once you do it, you see it. So um,
I'm waiting for that moment.
I had I had a dream, and it was like this milky white, like, old man in a wheelchair, and it started from the corner, and it just, like, moved down and got bigger and closer and closer and closer to me till it got up, like, right up in front of me, and, like, I guess he was showing the intensity, but he was like, "Is this what you want?"
Mm.
And I thought about it, I was like, "Hell yeah, this is what I want." Um, and then, the other one, I tell everyone this other, story, just because it was something that just made so much sense because in my grandma's house, um, this was right after that, after I had that dream, probably a couple months or something, but I went to my grandma's house. I hadn't been there probably about 10 years. Um, well, no, I take it back, maybe 5. Um, but definitely not since I started to kind of like have the awakening. And I always thought I stayed in one specific room in my grandma's house, and I was on the second story. And I always thought these wolves were going to come in through the window on the second story and attack me, which is really weird.
What is it with you and
I,
wolves?
I don't know what it is with wolves, but
I'm
like,
glad she asked it because that's what I was getting ready to ask.
I,
Seems like
I
seems
mean,
like
I
you
don't
got
know.
dogs chasing you.
I mean, I
Um,
love you, but I'm running. I'm sorry.
no, I know. But like, I don't know why I always thought it was wolves. It's never saw them, saw coyotes, whatever. Um, and so after I had that dream, went to go lay down in the bed. I was like 19 at the time. And it's just like, I was laying down and there's like, it got really staticky. Um, like, kind of like, the black and white TVs kind of, whenever it didn't have a signal. Um, and then I was kind of looked within that, and there was like this old Western woman, had like the bonnet and the whole outfit. She was standing right beside my bed looking at me.
So wait a minute. The whole room went staticky?
Yes. Like, so the lights were off and like the whole room was like staticky. Um, and this woman was standing right next to my bed looking at me. And I'm just laying down and and I'm looking at her, and then she moves down the bed to the foot, and we're just looking eye to eye, and just looking at each other. And I'm just like, this makes so much sense now. And then I fell asleep because I finally had that comfort of knowing why I was feeling that type of energy, because I can never discern what
Mm.
that energy was. But now I
So
can't.
did you recognize this woman?
No.
Okay. And is
Um,
this the same house? The the uh the same house that you were experiencing other things in?
no.
Or this is your grandmother's house?
This is my grandma's house.
Okay.
My grandma's house, it's a very old house, but it was also a transplant. They actually moved it from a different location, to where it sits now. Um, and yeah, like it blew me away, and I wasn't even scared. I finally recognized what that energy that I'd been feeling for so long was, and then I fell asleep because it was finally comforting to know what it was. So that was kind of my awakening.
And as far as me, like you said, science kid, right? You need the details, you need the reasoning, you need the logical proof in front of your head. That was me. And I was raised to be that way. Um, but I'm still a very, very heavy skeptic. I doubt myself. I doubt the paranormal. I doubt the things that are right in front of my face that I see. I'm like, no, but there's a couple of things that I don't doubt, and by far some of my favorite experiences. But the first major investigation I ever went on, investigation, not just playing around, was the Strange Escapes, with Amy Bruni. And it was at Belvoir Winery. Uh, did you hear that?
I did.
I heard something too.
Yeah, that was a noise that just happened in the bathroom.
It sounded like it was in our shower.
Yeah, like something just like kind of like the toilet seat, like.
Anyways, so
I'll go back and
we don't
listen to
have
this
activity in our
afterwards and
home, so it must be you,
let you know what
Bernadette.
I heard. Hopefully
But
it caught it on here.
yeah, right. So it was at Belvoir Winery in Liberty, Kansas, or Liberty, Missouri, and which is a former Odd Fellows orphanage. And we were in that building, in what they call the ballroom. So it was where we were having lunches and dinners, and we had a party there one night. But up at that point, we were with Rochelle and oh hell.
That's a weird name.
Well,
Right?
I'll just say he was. We were
Oh, Hell Smith. I remember him.
yeah, oh, anyways, we were upstairs with Rochelle, and we were doing, like the red light goggles experiment kind of thing. And I was just sitting back with a friend. We were around these round tables or whatever, and two people were out in the middle of the room. And this was just a few years ago. And it's really, really quiet. And I'm recording with my I've got a Canon, like a really nice camera. Actually, no. This was just last year. Yeah, anyways, wasn't it? I don't know. But I was recording the experiment being done, and all of a sudden we hear this really, my friend and I, my friend MJ and I, we hear this really feminine, light voice say two syllables, but right behind my head, like right here. And it was clear as day. It's like somebody whispering in your ear. And I stopped and I turned to her. I said, "Did you hear that?" She said, "I heard that." And I had no idea what it was because immediately, you can hear me on the video, immediately I start dismissing, "Oh, maybe it's something in somebody's purse, maybe it's somebody at the window, maybe it's this, maybe it's that." You know, I'm looking through my purse, I'm looking through MJ's purse and asking people, you know, "Do you have?" Because I want to explain it away. I wanna come up with every reason that it's not there, but I couldn't. And then I get home and I listen back, or I'm watching the video that I recorded of my friends doing this experiment. And not only did I catch the disembodied voice that I heard in the moment, there were 2 more phrases before that disembodied voice that were EVPs. Um, so Rochelle walks across the screen, like, in front of my camera, she's like, "Oh, sorry." And then there was a voice that says, "It's okay." And then a little mumble, and then you hear that voice again, which is a different tone, it's a different voice that says, "Help me." And I know you say, "Oh, God help me," it's heard everywhere, but it was a little girl's voice that said, "Help me." And at that point, I just absolutely knew without a shadow of a doubt in my mind because I heard it with my ears. Other people heard it too. And then I caught it on camera. There's no dismissing that. There's your evidence, there's your proof, there's your science, there's your everything. Um, and there's no way to disprove it. And it was one of the most beautiful moments of my life that I got to experience, and, God, I'm thankful for it. But it was at that point, I was no longer 1 foot in, 1 foot out. At that point, I was both feet in, and I've been gung ho ever since. Like, I will go into any building, I don't care how haunted it is, I don't care who's there, what's there, throw me in there by myself with some people. I prefer by myself, but,
Well,
I'm just
then you don't have to figure out, well, was it, John's stomach grumbling, or was it,
yeah, damn
you
it,
know?
John. But,
Like, so we're, you know, you're from northern Indiana. So that's why we're like, whenever we were talking beforehand, like, ooh, we like Indiana.
mm,
Um, we, so we have a trip planned, into March, beginning of April. It's going to
Carolyn,
culminate in 5 days in Salem, but we're also getting kind of a big group together and waiting to schedule
7 days.
um, ISS,
Indiana State Sanatorium,
Indiana State Sanatorium, and then the very next night we're going to be doing Old Hospital on
College
College
Hill.
Hill. And then we're going to be stopping off, like doing the self-guided tours at Trans Allegheny and um, um, Eastern State Penn, stopping off, staying the night in Gettysburg, and just doing this whole cross country paranormal tour before we even end up in Salem. Anywhere like 10 hours from here puts us in Denver. When I lived in North Carolina, 10 hours from there would put you in like Boston or something like that. So,
Somewhere way
uh,
cooler.
um, we're taking full opportunity of this, and we see those places, and we watch the TV shows and everything else, and it's just amazing. In fact, what where were they at? The most insane piece of evidence we've ever seen was on Paranormal Lockdown, um, and it was a crawler that they got,
Creeper.
a creeper, sorry, that started walking on all fours.
So I saw this episode before, and I remember them saying, "Oh, it's smoky something something
Is that Trans Allegheny?
it was Trans Allegheny,
That was Trans Allegheny where they saw this at.
but it was like it was supposed to be like a reptile or something crawling on the floor." And I remember watching it the first time, and I'm looking close, I'm rewinding, I'm like, I can't see shit. I couldn't see anything. We watched it the other night. Wasn't one of our kids with us at the
No,
Josie?
we brought her in.
Are we
Or
sure
she
we
came
brought?
in after because we kept rewinding and watching it for like 10 minutes.
We did. No, so we watched this thing. I was sitting right here, and I'm just like, I still remember the feeling. It was just like, there was the OMFG moment. You know, it was like, holy shit, I didn't just see that. I covered my mouth, my jaw was to the floor, and I'm almost screaming. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm saying, I can't watch it again. I can't watch again. I'm like, wait, no, yes, I can. And we rewind it because it was terrifying but thrilling at the same time, because it was like, that shit happened. The evidence was caught, and they went down the hallway and there was nobody there. And okay, I'll have to send you the clip. It's insane.
Absolutely.
That feeling is what makes everything worth it. I mean, the investigations, finding all that, but that like scared, excited feeling that you saw something that other people are just not going to even pay attention to. And to see that otherworldly stuff, objects, evidence, paranormal, whatever you want to call it, it's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So this thing starts as a mist on the floor, and it forms itself into a body, and it reaches. You see the first arm reach out at the shoulder, and then you see the second arm reach out, and that's the part where I start yelling. And then you see the knees start to advance and the feet being dragged behind. And this is
Wow.
an old, oh my gosh. Yeah. If something like that starts coming towards me, I'm not staying there. I'm going to run. I'll probably go back. But if it's going like at a lateral or a perpendicular, way to me, um, I'd probably stay. But it was
Right.
crazy. And the cool thing is like, we don't know what that is. We never will know what that is. But we know it is. We know it's real. We know it's there. And it has some sort of figure or form, intelligence, something to be there, because it was crawling away from the camera. As soon as the camera guy panned on it, the mist became the form, and then the form left and disappeared, and I'm just like, oh my God.
I actually just sent you that clip on Messenger, so you should have it and watch it whenever we're done and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's
Friggin'
crazy.
insane. But I go, we haven't had one of those moments. I haven't had one of those moments.
God, I wish I had one of those moments.
Yeah, I'm excited about having one of those moments, but I'm going to keep throwing myself in abandoned asylums and hospitals and prisons until I get one of those moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
If
like,
you
yeah.
if you're coming through Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
and you ever heard of Randolph County Infirmary?
So that was our other one it's between Randolph and ISS, between the group when we were trying to figure it out. Because we were going to book Randolph County initially. And then we're like, well, what about ISS? Because we've never done a sanatorium before, ever. And we were looking at it, and we're like, oh, but there's ISS. So it's just a major debate.
Well, I've been to Randolph County Infirmary. It's 20 minutes from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Wow.
Oh, you lucky dog.
Yeah. I had poltergeist activity there.
Oh.
Tell us about it.
This is about you, not me. I will tell you about it after we get done recording. How about that?
Oh, dang. Okay. Yeah, but it was, I think, really because of the group size that we're going to have, because and originally it was just going to be us and maybe a couple friends, but our circle is wide. And so we're asking this person, asking this person, and they're like, oh, hell yeah. So we're all going to be coming out of the woodwork and like spidering down to Indiana, and we're all going to meet there. A group of like 12 or 14 of us. But because of the size,
Yeah.
Just
ISS was going to be more
palpable, I guess you might want to say.
palpable.
Yeah,
I guess so.
We went to Randolph County, and we had like 16 people, and I mean, it's like 58,000 square feet, but I still felt like there was too many people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's 3 floors. There's a basement,
Yes.
2 living floors, and then the attic. So you can spread out, but it's an old building, so people walking around and stuff like that, you do hear echoes and things like that. So
Yeah, we'll have to speak about this trip if you've not been to ISS. Just saying. It's over 100,000 square feet, and there's miles and miles of tunnels,
Yeah, I know where it's
buildings
at.
upon buildings, and yeah. Oh, Indiana is chock full of really cool places.
Indiana and Ohio both.
Yeah, and Iowa. Oh my God, go up to Iowa. Holy shit, Kansas, everywhere but Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I'm going to be coming down to Arkansas
I love
in
Arkansas.
June, the first week of June next year.
Mhm. Have you not been there?
No, I have not.
It's so
I'm
pretty.
going down to speak at the Arkansas Cryptid Fest.
Ooh.
Fabulous! Oh my God, I almost went this summer, but it coincided with something else that I was doing.
Well,
Um,
this is the first year for this event. It's
Where?
in
okay, then
North
I'm
Little
thinking of
Rock.
another Arkansas cryptid because
North
in
Little Rock? Okay.
in the hills there, the hills between Arkansas and, or the mountains, whatever you wanna call them.
Ozarks.
Yeah, so many cryptid stories.
Yeah.
So many local legends and creatures, and I did a when I was in college, I did a report over cryptids, local lore cryptids, and there was case after case after case in Arkansas and Missouri, and I was just like, "Oh my
Hmm.
god." It's like it's the what is the cave system? Mammoth Cave System. So it's like the Mammoth Cave System is to Kentucky as, the Ozark Hills are to Arkansas, but
Right.
you're gonna have so much
Right.
fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird stuff in Arkansas. My good friend Matthew from the Drunken Cryptids, he's putting on the Arkansas Cryptid Fest next year. So
Great. We will have to come.
Nice.
Are they doing
absolutely.
vendors and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're
Well, we'll
still
get
taking
that one.
applications for vendors. I can get you hooked.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be great. We're trying to on our other side, the Offbeat by Design. We're trying to kind of start doing booths as well. So like T-shirts, but we also make custom woodburn spirit communication boards,
Okay.
as well as like pendulum boards and stuff like that as well. So,
Right.
I'm a Jill of all trades. I'm really big into woodworking, but like I told you with the ADHD, I can't stay on one hobby. Um, so
Podcasting is the longest hobby I've ever had.
is it?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
that's only because you're hooked
I've
in
got a
and you have
laser.
expectations.
I've got a laser that I burn wood and stuff like that and all that, cut things, and that lasted like 6 months.
Mhm. Oh, I do it all by hand. I do it all with, not the soldering iron, but I've got,
The
like, the
heat gun or
expensive,
whatever.
really, really hot one that cuts through the wood or whatever, not
Yeah.
laser, but, um, yeah, I love it. I made one so the first board I made, was for him on his birthday, and I realized how much I loved it, and then we used the board, at an investigation, and it works so good, and I was like, "Oh, shit, I gotta do this," like, um
That was the blood you put into it.
I didn't do that. I did have a friend, though, she was like, "Are you gonna do blood ritual, or are you gonna do, like,
No.
the wood from a tree that's
Oh,
been struck by lightning?" And I'm like, "No, my wood is, like, from the wood
Walmart,
store," or whatever it's
the
called.
wood store.
Woodcraft. We have Shut up. We have
Where you
the
headed?
wood
I'm headed
store,
down to the wood store.
like woodcraft.
Gotcha.
but, but yeah, the first time we ever used it, it was at Backintier Villa, and we were teaching somebody else how to use it because they had
Mhm.
never used a spirit communication board before. And I asked why it's there. Not do you like are you dead? Obviously they're dead, but just ask why they're there
You don't know that
at
it's
the
a
villa.
spirit. Anyways.
Whatever it is. Anyways, so it's spelled out dead. But what we did not know
D-E-A-D.
is there was somebody from a different group. I put a dead bell 2 rooms over.
Mhm.
We were not aware of this.
It
And
hadn't gone off all night.
yeah, hadn't gotten enough all night. The other group was up in the attic, and it was us three, and it spelled out dead. Well, when it got to the D, the last letter of dead, that dead bell went off 2 rooms over
And wouldn't stop going off.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All of us were like, oh my God.
our friend's 15-year-old daughter, she investigates with us a lot. She was in the room with the dead bell. She had no idea it was there. And she had been in there on her phone for like an hour or more, just laying on the couch, playing on her phone. And it went off. And like I said, it kept going off. And she's like, Mom? Because her mom was the one that we were guiding her through her first session. You know, she'd not done a session before. She wanted to, but again, got raised in a religious household. Ouija boards are bad. You can't do it. It's the devil. So we kind of held her hand through it and had a really good session. And she really enjoyed the time. She actually did it with us again at another location after that. But yeah, she's yelling. She goes, Mom, what's going on? And we're just like, oh my God. And I mean, that upon, other things, there were things that she had said or that whoever it was that said that we were actually able to corroborate with newspaper articles.
We verified the information from what we were getting. Yeah.
Yeah, that board is associated. I swear to God, that board is associated somehow with water, because it seems like every time we open the board and have a conversation, that somebody that's passed away because of drowning or water or something comes through.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that each time we've been by a river or a lake, and we've been able to corroborate it with articles.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Pretty crazy. I love it,
Well, we've
though.
been going for about 55 minutes now. So
53.26.
yeah. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find Offbeat Paranormal?
So you can find Offbeat Paranormal on Facebook, as well as Instagram and YouTube
and TikTok.
TikTok. We're just starting those, the TikTok and the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We got some investigations coming up. Like Sleeper on Friday, and then
Sleeper again, but it's a party the second time.
Weekend, and then we have some more. We were so busy in October we couldn't do anything. So
into December, New Year's, we're going up to the Oddfellows.
We'll be at Belvoir New Year's, and
every time I'm back at Belvoir, I go up to that room and I sit down by myself and I talk to whoever was there, and I let her know that if she needs anything, that I'm there to listen. And that, I'll be there for the weekend or the night or whatever. But I always do that because I really feel like I'm sorry I interrupted.
She's excited.
But listen, though, and every time it happens to a friend of mine or I experience it with a friend, I'm like, consider yourself so special, so for a spirit to choose you to speak out loud to you. I mean, that's something really special. So I consider myself special. But yeah, what were we saying?
And then on the other side for the Offbeat by Design, it's a different logo, but we do have an Etsy shop.
It's the same though.
Yeah. And you can find all sorts of...
Did you say Estes?
I said Etsy.
Okay.
And it has t-shirts for everybody. It has trauma-related t-shirts. It has paranormal. It has... sarcastic humor.
Messed up sense of humor.
Normally the messed up sense of humor ones are from my mind. It's bad.
And then my boards, my spirit boards are on there too.
Yeah.
But we're trying to relocate over to whatever
Shopify.
The hell it is, Shopify. But that's a huge undertaking. So
yeah. Everything's in the works. As well as we got the design parts on Facebook and Instagram as well.
And we've opened up part of the Shopify to start helping paranormal teams with their merch. So like we're able in the Shopify, and this is really how it started out. I'm sorry, but it started out as each team can have their own kind of mini store, and I can help design their merch and get everything posted and set. And then they can have whoever, come and visit their website underneath our Shopify store and order that team's merch. And we can set multiple teams up with their own, mini merch store. So,
yeah.
I'd
It's
love to
awesome.
start doing that and help everybody because I know what a pain in the ass it is to get merch when you're a paranormal team. It's
Right?
stupid.
So it's not fun as a podcaster either.
No, I bet. Well, we can help you out. I'm a pretty decent designer.
We'll talk after we're done here.
Okay,
Okay.
doke. But yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Etsy,
Yep. That's
all the
it.
things.
The Estes store, you got to put your blindfold on and
Estes, yeah. It's
you got to
so
wait for the store to talk to you through the headphones.
exactly. So you have to, it'll tell you, look for this shirt. So you have to go down like 5 rows and then maybe over a couple of times you click on it, and then you might click order. You don't know what you're going to get, but you know what? That's
It's
the
gonna be what
challenge.
you need.
Well, Philip and Amanda, I do appreciate you coming on. Well, and stick around. We're gonna talk a little bit after we're
Yeah.
done here.
No problem.
And if you've had a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com, or you can get a hold of me on Facebook like Philip did, and we'll get you on the show. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Gotta go. And that's it for tonight. Make sure you're checking out the description on this episode for any links associated with the guest. And if you've had a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Good night, everyone.
Shadow in the pines lurking in the dusky air. Bigfoot stomps through the woods like he don't care. Lights in the sky flash green then blue. Aliens descending with a secret or two. Whispers in the breeze, cold fingers down your spine. Ghosts in the graveyard, twisting through time. Eyes wide open in the dead of night. The myths and monsters give 'em one hell of a fright. Oh, Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, spinning wild tales of a future